sanctuary city, it took on a whole life of its own.
You know, I'm not sure who organized it. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the zoning board meeting of February 28, 2017. My name is Marty Akins. I'm the chairman. To my left, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Chin, Mr. Frankel, and Mr. Radell, and Mr. Hampton. To my right, your left, the clerk, Ms. Murphy, the head of inspectional services, Mr. Duca. If anyone has cell phone or pages, could you put it on vibrate or silent, please? Not to interrupt the meeting. If anyone wants to talk, please step outside. Anyone that's going to testify tonight, could you please stand up and raise your right hand? If anyone's going to testify tonight, if you think you might testify, please take an oath, Mr. Chairman.
Would you repeat the oath after me? I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Have a motion to waive the minutes of February 14th, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to waive the minutes of our zoning board of appeals meeting on February 14th, 2017.
Second. Motion. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, or no? We have a bunch of people that are gonna, there's 4 cases, they're gonna move on tonight to another date. So listen up. Case number 16086, C Street. Robert Galligan, the manager, for variance finding to change the last agreement from the zoning board of appeals. That's going to be moved to April 25th. April 25th.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-086, C Street Quincy LLC, Robert Galligan, manager, for a variance finding to amend the decisions previously issued in the ZBA case number 4302 and case number 08-115, which required the lots to remain in common ownership on the premises number 1269 C Street, Quincy. I make a motion to reschedule a hearing on that until April 25th of 2017.
A second?
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. So if there's anyone here for C Street, that'll be heard April 25th. Case number 16089. We're looking for a date of March 28, 17. Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-089, MINH VAN PHAM, for a variance to subdivide the lot from 1 James Street and create a new lot for a 3-story, 3-unit townhouse on the premises numbered 74 to 76 Lancaster Street. I'd like to make a motion to reschedule a hearing until March 28th of 2017.
Second.
Say it again, please.
On the motion, 1 minute. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Folks,
Well,
Lancaster.
the council, anyone here for Lancaster, the council like to speak to outside. On the case 17-D1712, I have a letter here to withdraw without prejudice. I have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case Z17-12, 19 to 21 TRASK Avenue Realty Trust, Jody Luongo, trustee, for a variance to construct a 3-unit, 3-story residential building on the premises numbered 19 to 21 Trask Avenue, Quincy. I'd like to make a motion to withdraw this case.
Without prejudice, second.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Case number Z1717. The councilor wants to move this to March 28th.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case Z17-17, Lenny Chen, for a finding to change the use from office to retail, and that the increase in re-existing non-conforming parking will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood on the premises numbered 657 Adams Street, Quincy. I'd like to make a motion to reschedule this to March 28th, 2017.
Second.
Second.
Motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So, if there was anyone here for 657 Adams Street, that's going to be heard March 28th. TRASK Street, March 28th.
No, TRUST Suites withdrawn.
I mean Lancaster, 328. SEA Street, Louis Cafe is 425. The other one's withdrawn.
TRUST Avenue.
TRASK Ave has been withdrawn. Seeing that, on old business, case number 16064, QIONG LIN for variance finding to change the existing single family to a two-family, 48 Newton Ave. Is the applicant or representative here?
Jody Bernadette Kenny for the owner, QIONG LIN.
Address?
The property
Your
address, oh, sorry, 21 McGrath Highway, Suite 501, Quincy.
Jim Chang, I'm the architect, 730 Hancock Street, Quincy.
Okay, explain what you want to do.
We're requesting to build from a single family to a two family. We've been before the board several times. Our most recent time before the board was regarding the responses from the neighbors regarding the outdoor area, where we responded to that and made changes.
Which is,
They had asked that originally they had the parking facing in this direction so that at night the headlights would come in and potentially shine here. So we moved it so that the headlights would be shining into the back of the yard, and would be installing ground lighting there instead of lighting up. Also greenery along the sides and planting on both sides.
any questions of the board?
Not at this time.
No questions.
Any changes to the structure at all?
No.
You have a seat. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor? Speak in favor? First call, second call. Third call closed. Anything from, all right. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided? Step up, state your name and address for the record, please. One at a time.
Going first? No, okay. Good evening, members of the zoning board. My name is Joy Lester and I reside at 44 Newton Avenue in Quincy, where I've lived with my husband James Boyd for over 30 years. And we raised our daughters Amanda, Elizabeth, and Emily, and all of us are opposed to the application for request from a single-family resident to a two-family home. The plans for which we feel just are not the right project on that tiny lot. I think it's, this is our sixth time before the board. And just to kind of give you the broad strokes of what we've been talking about here. The property's been vacant, somewhat neglected. We had to call the police a couple of times because the doors was left unsecured. And under the threat of impending $400 a day fines, the building department, got the owner to come down and take care of that. They've had withdrawals of applications, continuances, and we're tired of coming before the board, and you're probably tired of hearing this case. At your request, a neighborhood meeting was supposed to be scheduled, and I'd like to introduce this document here, which is a certified list of the owners. There are 59 names on here. However, for the neighborhood meeting that you had urged the applicant to meet with, only 4 people received notification for that meeting. And every person that I had asked personally, had you got notification, did not. And they're circled in pink here, and the yellow circles highlighted are people who did get notification. did get a letter for the January 28th meeting. There's some other things that I wanted to bring up as well, administrative items with regard to dimensional forms. When, in the 6 hearings we've been preparing for, we have an application filled out in July and then another one in September. And in both cases here, the existing conditions on one item changed by 100%. And nothing's really been done, so I have to ask, why should the numbers be different from the existing condition? So I would like to get an answer on that. Maybe not tonight, but we need to rely on the numbers that are in those folders for our purposes. And I also have a letter from a neighbor who was not able to make it tonight, and I'd like to read that into the record. And it starts off as such. February 24th, 2017, regarding the conversion of 48 Newton Avenue to a multifamily, petition to oppose. Although my husband John and I could not attend the public meeting regarding changing 48 Newton Avenue into a multifamily house, we felt the need to write so that our concerns are read into the public record. This month, it will be 29 years living at our current address of 109 Standish Avenue, owner occupied. We've also lived in other areas of Quincy since our wedding in June of 1980. Our daughter grew up in our home, went to St. Anne's School, and then graduated from North Quincy High. This neighborhood is very important to us and to her, so that she has a home to come back to from her various travels. She works at Google and has lived in San Francisco, Sydney, and now Seattle. We love that Quincy is a city, but more importantly, we love that it also has unique communities and neighborhoods within the city. That is the draw of Quincy. We feel that we should work to maintain the integrity of its uniqueness. We feel that too many of the older homes are being purchased with the intention of transforming them into multi-unit houses, condos, townhouses, and apartment buildings with little regard as to the impact to the surrounding homes and to the property values. With multifamily units come many concerns. Parking is already an issue, as is added traffic. We've had one of our neighbors hit and killed just walking from one side of our street to the other. With families and small children, we want to avoid any other tragedies such as that from happening again. Water runoff is another concern. If we continue to pave with new parking lots, we will have flooding issues even more than we already have today. Try driving down Standish Avenue during a torrential rainstorm and you will see cars that have become stranded in front of our house due to the depth of the waters. I can email you pictures if you've not seen this firsthand. It seems in these past few years, our wonderful neighborhood has been a target of rezoning and many building changes with little to no regard to the actual impact these changes have had on the neighborhood or its neighbors. Therefore, we are opposed to the conversion of 48 Newton Avenue into a multifamily building and all that that would entail. Thank you in advance for allowing us to be heard. Regards, Donna M. Conley and John B. Conley, 109 Standish Avenue, Quincy, Mass. Submit that as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Alrighty, and in addition to all of what I've submitted so far, we started a petition in the neighborhood, and we have 33 signatures in opposition to the project, and I will submit that also for the record.
Thank you.
And just so we're clear on the earlier testimony, there were 5 of us that did meet. So the 4 houses in direct proximity to the there were 6 of us actually that attended, I believe, Saturday morning meeting. But none of us were really in favor of the changes. I think we made it pretty clear that, we felt it would be nice if the owner fixed it up and kept it a single family. We were not in favor of moving it to a multi-family at all, as was maybe misled. our concerns are not addressed, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And we have here, as I mentioned before, there were several cases for this, case numbers for this project. And in that time, there's this stack of letters that get put in a closed file. So maybe you weren't at all of the meetings, you might have been at some but not the other. These are all the letters in opposition. And there's some photographs in here that I've included, which reflect the flooding that happens on a simple rain shower occasion, event. And we also have a tree that, under the city's ordinance, meets the qualification of being a significant tree. That it's, under the requirements, I believe, it qualifies as, it's got 134 inches at the growth. That's a big tree. That's part of our neighborhood. So I'm going to move on to my summary and conclude. So I think I've said a lot, and I could say more, but I think my neighbor's letter said it perfectly. But the proposed project for me and for my family and my neighbors, we all feel it's too big for the neighborhood. It's exceedingly narrow at 41 feet wide, where the zoning requires nearly double that. And the setback of only 2 feet on the left side of the property is almost sevenfold of what should be there. And just even like all of the modifications they're trying to make, like putting a parking lot in there to accommodate the concerns about parking, it brings other problems. I mean, it's not even wide enough. Somebody asked me, there's not even the ability for them to have two-way traffic, like going in and out of that parking lot, if they were to even, if you were to consider it, My feeling is a pre-existing variance is not a justifiable defense for exceeding the ordinances of the city of Quincy, especially with increased demands on the use of the property add to the detriment of the community as it does here. When the home was occupied by a single family, there were, on any given day, 3 cars in the driveway. You would oftentimes see one of the cars parked in front, adjacent to the fire hydrant, clearly a detriment to the safety of the neighborhood. And I have to ask, where would 4 or more cars fit on that lot in the event that it would be allowed to become a 2-family rental property? What about their guests and visitors? Where would they park? How would ambulances and trucks safely navigate our street and be able to do their jobs respectively? Recently, a neighbor being taken out by an ambulance, and there was snow on the ground and cars parked along the street. And between the cars, the snows, and the ambulance in the middle of the street, the road was impassable, and another neighbor had to wait 30 minutes before the road was clear again to go to work. 30 minutes, folks. Okay. It's important to note that current residents of the existing multifamily units on the street, while having off-street parking available, do not utilize this amenity. Instead, they prefer to park on the street and the sidewalks, forcing pedestrians to walk in the street, impeding the work of the contractors hired to do the snow plowing, potentially impeding the all-important work of our fire trucks and ambulances. And at the end of the day, on any given night, I can count 13 cars, 15 cars on the streets and sidewalks. And adding another multifamily unit just doesn't make any sense to an already congested circumstance. And I would add that we have 3 apartment buildings on our street, and they do have lots big enough to accommodate their tenants, and they're not part of the problem. Just trying to summarize and get quicker and to the point here. Our neighborhood has endured the construction of a new middle school, a brand new motel, and the replacement of the water mains in the area. Those were challenging times, but they were being done for the greater good of the community at large. And now we're built up to capacity with a motel literally a few feet from the fences. Given the existing condition of the neighborhood, congestion of the neighborhood, how can the increased risk of flooding, traffic, and parking problems that would result from this proposal not pose a detriment to the community, the residents in the community? The answer is clear. It does. I just don't see how we can allow someone to come in and make significant changes for an enormous profit at the expense of the neighborhood. It's just simply wrong. And I ask you to please vote no tonight and not postpone further discussion. And if you can't vote no, I would urge you. Thank you. One sentence last? Okay. If you can't vote no, to postpone the vote until we have a comprehensive traffic study that has been ordered by Mayor Koch. That's concluded. Thank you.
Anyone else, opposed or undecided? We have a lot of cases tonight, if you could make it, get to the point quick, that would be great.
My name is Lisa Moy. I live at 50 Newton Ave, and our property abuts 48 Newton Ave. I wrote a letter. I don't know if you want me to read the letter or just...
Go ahead, if you want to read it, that's fine.
Sure. Okay. Joy has touched upon a lot of the key things that concern the neighbors. So our home, which we have owned for roughly 20 years, abuts 48 Newton Ave. My husband and I oppose a grant for variance to build a multi-family dwelling on 48 Newton Ave. Parking is already a problem on our dead-end street. Current residents of existing multi-family dwellings on Newton Ave often park on the street, even though parking is provided to them at the back of their dwellings. This parking situation makes it difficult for snow removal, vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances to maneuver on our street. And often the people who have these parking lots back of their apartment buildings or multifamily homes, they choose to park on the street. And on any given night or morning, there are up to 15 cars on the street. And these are people who have parking lots in the back of their homes. Adding another multifamily structure to the building, to the neighborhood would create a safety issue. 48 Newton Ave is located close to the end of our dead-end street, and that's the only point where vehicles can safely turn around. And if more cars are parked at that end of the street, it would be difficult for these emergency vehicles to turn around. And recently, I think Joy mentioned this, we had an elderly neighbor who suffered a medical emergency, and because cars are parked on both sides of the streets, there was snow, the ambulances were forced to sort of park in the middle of the street, and one of our neighbors couldn't get by the ambulance and had to wait close to a half hour to get to work. And that just illustrates the problem. The former residents of 48 Newton Ave, our neighbors, had 2 adults and 2 young children, and they owned 2 cars and frequently parked on the street. And a parent often visited the house, and so she parked on the street. And there's a fire hydrant, I think Joy mentioned this too, in front of 48 Newton Ave. So a car would frequently park in front of our house. So if a family with 2 adults and 1 adult frequent visitor would park on the street despite having parking in their driveway, I think we can safely assume that the tenants...
I think the parking situation's already been discussed.
Yeah.
The people sick, the people trying to get fire hydrants, we get all that, we really do.
Okay.
So, if you have anything new to add, please add it. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
I hear
Well, I
some
will
story
wrap
5
it up.
times.
I will wrap it up.
Okay, good.
But I think people tend to do things that are convenient to them. And parking on the street would be more convenient because
They should get
it's a very...
ticketed. They should get ticketed. They have parking. They should be ticketed.
I-
They should.
Yeah, there's never ticketing on our
Oh,
street.
sure.
Yeah. And because the driveway to the parking lot, the driveway's not going to change on 48 Newton Ave. It's going to stay. So that's not very convenient for people to park in the lot. So they'll just park in the street because people tend to do things that are easy for them.
They do it all
So you
over
can't
the city.
blame, yeah, but it's going to be easy for them. So even if they have this wonderful parking lot back there, it's not really going to help the situation on our street, our narrow street. So, thank you very much for
Thank you.
your
Is
time.
there anyone else? Opposed or undecided?
Just a quick one. Ken Moy, 50 Newton Ave,
Okay.
husband of Lisa and neighbor of Joy, directly abuts the property. I don't want to keep going over time. We were one of the residents, couples that met with the attorney on the 20th of January, and you know, we talked about fences, and they never brought, you know, a subject up about the fences, the fencing on our property. But I just wanted to let you know I oppose the property, and that's it.
Very good, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is there anyone else opposing on your side? Second call? Third call. All that part of the hearing closed. And that property is way too small for a two-family house myself, so I'm gonna be voting no.
I'd also be voting no. I don't see that after 6 meetings here, that there's any progress at all with the satisfying the neighbors.
Property is way too small for what's proposed, the neighborhood is stressed enough. It's just not appropriate for that lot, I'll be voting no.
No.
Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case 16-064, QIONG LIN for a variance finding to change the existing single-family home to a two-family home on the premises numbered 48 Newton Avenue in Quincy, I'd like to make a motion to deny the requested variance.
A second?
Second.
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Tonight's business, I made a mistake and I let the city lawyer wait for this. It's a remand by the court for a car wash, which I should have put first. Counsel, apologize.
Good evening, board. Jenna Cutting on behalf of the city solicitor's office. This is a matter that has been remanded from the land court. HANCOCK Street Car Wash had brought an action against the board regarding their sign. Attorney Pastor, who is present, if you want to come forward, is your All right. So this was before the land court. Attorney Castor and I reached what we think is a reasonable resolution to the suit. I brought it to the board's attention a while back in an executive session, and we reached an agreement that we'd like you to consider. It would involve amending the decision to make one minor change. The amendment would be that the sign could stay as it is now, as long as it is not used as an animated sign. So the other terms of the decision would remain the same. And this could be done through just a vote on an amended decision, making it clear that all other terms of the decision remain the same and are in effect, but the sign can stay as it is now in its present location as long as it's not used as an animated.
Nothing running at all. Did we put a time on that, change the time?
No.
We did.
The only question was animation as
Yeah.
opposed to,
The stance.
well, it's gonna rotate,
Yeah.
messages, but it will be no animation.
And what was the time in the rotation? Were we talking 10 minutes?
I don't know if we ever talked about that.
I mean, I know people going down the street for 7 minutes. Someone down the street could be watching this for a change. We don't want that.
I'd just like to make, to be clear, rotation, animation, movement, as long as, I've already given Mr. Gaetano a letter, Mr. Cordoni a letter, that as long as he just changes the sign every 10 or 15 minutes, obviously the board, I would ask that they put some kind of time limit on that. That's the way he was using the sign that was permitted back in '06. It was for 15 minutes, as long as it doesn't change, and it just changes every 15 minutes. That was the original permitted sign. So I just want to make sure that we don't get into too many semantics about rotation and rotating and stuff. It just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Yeah, I think 10 minutes works.
10 minutes. That's a long time.
It is, but middle school is like every 2 minutes or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just procedurally, if the board agrees on voting for this change, we will be notifying the land court that there's an agreement, and then there would just be a stipulation of dismissal of the suit in that.
Right. The agreement's gonna stay in place. We're gonna add it can't be used as an animated sign, but it can be changed every 10 minutes. Correct? Okay.
Do you have the case number?
Just a remand from the.
I have it here, and again, making clear that all other provisions of the decision are remain.
Can do that. Does everyone understand the motion?
Correct.
Do.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Regarding case number 16-048, all conditions stated originally in the decision will remain in effect with the amended decision that there be no animation and changes will be permitted every 10 minutes on the sign.
Right, and everything else is in place. Right. Seconded? Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? So moved.
Is it clear in what you, Attorney Costa was just questioning whether that's clear enough that the sign can remain?
The sign can remain
Yeah, we made it, it's.
in its present state.
Present state,
It
okay.
can't be used as an animated sign. It can be changed every 10 minutes.
That's fine, that'd be great. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
They can have animated characters on it. Better still, they just can't move.
I was hoping we were gonna get some animated.
Should have put a
Counselor,
stipulation, you can say weed maps.
You ready? Yeah. All right. I know there's a lot of people here, so if we could have case number C17-16. And
What case?
Ken, you're up, Mr. Summer, you're in?
I thought you were in front of another one. You look like somebody else that we pushed off. I didn't want you to sit around for a while.
Yeah.
Dice
Dysart, I'm gonna take 1760 Dysart LLC, George Lane Manager for a finding to demolish a pre-existing garage, commercial purposes, and replace it with a 3-unit, 2.5-story residential. And that's in the request of the council is not feeling well, and I don't wanna see him here. We could be home, but not get us sick.
You can call that ambulance or grab.
And it's B-Wide. B-Wide.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board. First of all, I want to thank the neighbors for coming out again. I know people have quite a bit of patience, and the ward councilor. We had met at a neighborhood meeting before the last meeting when we were here before you. At that point in time, we had, well, let me back up a little bit. Historically, another proposed owner of the site, or another owner of the site, brought before this board a variance request to subdivide the lot and put a large two-family, two-townhouse residential structure on one of the lots and to keep the other lot the same, but it would have been an undersized lot. He withdrew that request for a variance, sold the property. My client, George Lang, purchased the property, came to me. We looked at the property. We understood that it had been before the board before, and we decided to go for a finding. And the reason we went for a finding is because we felt removing a non-conforming structure and putting in its place a structure that was completely conforming was certainly not more detrimental to the neighborhood. The neighbors came out, suggested that, you know, although a single family might be okay for them, they thought an enlarged two-family was too big a structure, 3 stories, it was 35 feet high, 3 bedrooms each unit, was too much for the neighborhood. The board seemed to concur with that, and members of the board suggested, listen, something should go there. You know, I might be supportive of a 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom units each, a little bit lower without the parking underneath and parking on the side. And we may consider that. So now we're back with a structure similar to the structure that we came here last time with, only much smaller, only 2.5 stories, or approximately 31 feet high. The floor area ratio smaller, 1,291 square feet per unit, as opposed to 1,500 or 1,600 square feet per unit, and with ample parking pursuant to the zoning ordinance. So the question before you is a structure that's conforming in all ways to the zoning of that area substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood? I'm not sure how it could be. We're taking an enlarged garage that's built, I believe, even on the abutting property's land, right up against the lot line, is an eyesore. The property was completely covered with asphalt, unsightly, and we're tearing down a non-conforming structure, and in its place, we're proposing to build a 2-unit structure, residential structure, with 2 bedrooms, 2 parking spaces per unit, that meets the floor area ratio of the zoning residential B of 0.4, combined with the other structure that's there, that meets the frontage requirement, that meets the front yard setback, side yard setback, rear setback, height requirement, essentially complies in all respects to the zoning of that neighborhood. You know, I heard some of the neighbors suggest, well, it just doesn't fit in that neighborhood. And we superimposed the proposed building onto the site, and this would be the proposed building. And it's actually smaller than many of the houses on that lot. This lot size is 10,609 square feet. Residential B zoning requires 3,000 square feet per residential unit. So pursuant to the zoning, 3 units does fit on this site, the existing zoning. Pursuant to the zoning, the size of all 3 units combined should have a floor area ratio of 0.4. This, combined with the 1/2 of the duplex on the same lot, is just under 0.4 floor area ratio, so that also complies. Another view of the structure that would be superimposed from, you know, a little bit higher would be right here. So as you see, all these structures, it fits with the neighborhood. The lot size is ample, it complies with zoning, and it meets all the setback requirements, height requirements, open space requirements, parking requirements of that neighborhood. Now, I do understand that the neighbors are not in favor of this, and that they've suggested maybe a single family should go there. And I appreciate that, I really do. But two-bedroom units on in an attractive building with a front yard landscaped properly in place of a non-conforming structure that is right up against all the lot, the rear and the side lot lines, unsightly, with a lot completely covered with asphalt, I just don't see how it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. The only nonconformity that will continue to exist on the lot, and the reason why we need the finding, is that the existing structure, residential structure, is part of a duplex. And way back years ago, the owner subdivided the lot and the duplex, essentially, that was connected right in half. So one half of the duplex belongs to one lot and the other half to the other lot. So it's not possible to tear down half of a duplex. But should that have, if that were to occur, you would be able to construct by right 3 units on this site because you have ample lot size. So we were asked to downsize it. We were asked to remove the garage underneath, which we did. We were asked to maybe make it 2 bedrooms rather than 3, which we've done. So I think this is really, somewhat of a compromise between what the neighbors considered too large and what we thought was good for the site and within the law as well, and a single-family house, which we believe is not sufficient. And it's a single-family house. If it were a residential A zone, I could understand that, but it is a residential B zone. It's zone multifamily. The entire street, most of which have multifamily residences on it. So while I understand the neighbors don't think it fits in most of their yards because their structures are pretty similar to the one that we're proposing to build. The complaints have been parking, where we're going to park when it plows, the difficulty in plowing, parking on the street, things of that nature. But the fact is that the parking is complying with the zoning. 2 units per residential structure, and we have 2 parking spaces per residential structure. We have that. So I'd ask the board to make a finding that this is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, that it does, in all other regards, comply with the zoning that's in place right now. I understand that there is resistance from the neighborhood. I do appreciate their concerns, but I don't feel that those concerns really are reflected in what is being proposed here. It's a 2-family house that is on a lot the size of which allows for that type of structure on it.
What's the pitch on that roof?
I don't know the pitch on it.
It just looks high. Looks like
Right now, the picture, looks a little high, but we low below 1 story. So the original like a 3 stories and higher. Right now it's 2.5 story.
Right.
The regular house.
What's the pitch of the roof? Is it 711, 511?
I think 711, 711.
711?
Yeah, doesn't show. Maybe show the thing. 11.5, yeah. 11.5 and 3/4.
What?
I see that clear. Is a right here, is a 25 cents.
That's a monster.
I can't
Is
see
it
it.
twice or what?
There's-
That is a monster. Where's the lot?
In the parking's in the back, so no one's gonna
So this is the structure, and it's next to all the other.
It's taller than the rest of the house.
It's really not.
It's a 24 by 50 something. Yeah.
It's 24, the structure
Yeah,
itself
you can look at the,
is 24 feet wide and I believe 58 feet.
58.
Could be 58 feet long, I'm not sure. With 2 bedrooms,
52?
52 feet long. So it's, the original proposal was 60 feet long
28.
and, yeah, 28 feet wide. So it's downsized, and we've downsized it at the request of the board. You know, I mean,
Any
in question
questions?
is on.
Right. Any questions of the applicant?
Not a question.
No more, any questions?
You know, that doesn't look like the street. It looks like you pictured made the street a little wider than it is. That's a very tight neighborhood.
So we use the code to do that.
That's not, can you turn that out?
3D.
I can. It's not meant to be to scale, it's not meant to deceive anybody. The fact of the matter is, the house next door is larger than this structure. You can go online on the city's website, look at the floor area ratio of that structure. You can look at every single house, in fact, on that street, and you can see that this house is no larger than the houses that are there already.
There's no way that
I can look at that
there's
picture and
space
point out
between
that
that
they're not the
picture.
same size.
There's no way, there's no way.
It has, you have the height dimensions,
How far is it from the other house?
Right, that looks way
Slow
too
down,
far.
everybody.
It meets-
Slow down.
the question was, how far away from the other house is it? Well, it depends on how far, whether the other house complies with the current zoning or not. But this house complies with the side setback that is required for the zoning. In other words, you need to have at least 13 feet from the side of the property to the home. And this house has that sufficient setback.
Are you saying from the existing duplex that's there now to the new structure, that is 13 feet?
No, they,
No.
to his lot line.
No, to my.
And whatever they have on their lot line for their house.
And in the front, it's 25 feet back from the street, and in the rear, it's plenty, it's even further.
You didn't answer my question.
In the rear. It
For
has
both
full-
units?
For both units, yes. That was at the request of the board as well. We had
What about the
original.
duplex that's there now? It has 5 bedrooms.
The duplex, first of all, Mr. Lang owns only one half
Right,
of the duplex.
Where is that other half of those people?
Hey, Counselor, we're gonna take 5 minutes, once you all get together and have a chat and discuss what you wanna discuss, all right? We're gonna take 5 minutes, Council, maybe you can get together and talk if you wanna, questions and everything. So, take 5, guys.
But I would think that the board would want to hear.
So,
This is the board not wanting to have to make a decision.
There are too many questions.
You guys don't want to touch this with a 10-foot.
That's not true at all.
You guys did just vote.
Yeah.
No, he didn't talk.
In the sidewalk, we never cleared.
Hey, you guys are all gonna speak, right? So, I don't know why we're doing this. Why don't we just kind of sit and wait, and then we'll go back? Unless you have something to add to the applicant's proposal in the pro, there's no reason to be having. I know.
The rental is not rental. It's almost all kinds of.
You're gonna vote no. They don't want to talk.
We have to get
Like if Marty had told that first thing, if you sit down right now, I'll vote no. She would have sat down.
I almost got her. I almost got her vote yes.
Brad?
Johnny, how'd my wide angle look, right?
You're looking good. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, you're looking stressed, man.
What do you say?
So you're looking stressed.
Am I looking stressed? No, no stress. I'm actually getting like super insane web traffic because of Bill Harris's motorcycle. We're talking tens of thousands of like something went national with that.
People over there on board too. Right?
Oh, yeah.
How you doing, Ann? Excellent.
You think so? Grab mine.
I just want to see at your
Unless this guy doesn't want to sell.